The valet at the Lakeside Estates Clubhouse takes my keys with that same fake polite flourish every board member practices when they want your money, but not your opinion. I smooth the silk of my black dress, bought special for tonight's annual gala, because nothing says community spirit like pretending the HOA isn't a cult with dues. Lakeside Estates in suburban Minnesota looks postcard perfect. Manicured lawns clipped to exactly 2.5 inches. Per Rule 4.2b, American flags no taller than 3 feet. Rule 7.1. Unless it's Karen Thompson's flag, then it's grandfathered in 0 political signs because we're all family here. Former board chair Martin, turns 65 tonight, and the HOA threw him this bash. I helped plan every detail. The caterer, the string lights, the exact shade of neutral beige tablecloth so nobody's feelings got hurt. Right down to the hand-carved ebony box under my arm, containing first edition Frank Lloyd Wright sketches I hunted for 6 months. The man loves architecture. The least I could do after liquidating my 401k in 2009 to keep this whole clubhouse from foreclosure when the recession tried to eat the association alive. Champagne flutes clink as I step inside. Over 70 residents mill around in their Friday best khakis and HOA-approved pastel cardigans. Jewelry sparkles under crystal chandeliers that somehow never violate the light pollution ordinance. A sharp bolt of pride cuts through the nerves. I coordinated the whole thing, triple-checked every vendor, made sure the vegan option didn't touch the gluten-free station. Welcome to Lakeside Estates. The hostess, barely 20 and already practicing her future Karen face, glances between her tablet and me. Her smile flickers like a dying bulb. Table 10, miss. There must be a mistake. I scan for my mother's silver bob. I'm Colleen Whitaker. I planned this. Yes, table 10. She points toward the back corner, right by the swinging bathroom doors, the overflow section for extended community members who apparently don't matter enough for the head table. My fingers tighten around the gift box. Through the sea of pastel perfection, I spot them. Karen Thompson, HOA president, seated at the elevated head table like she's the Queen of Sheba, crystal stemware glowing. Her son Derek and his very pregnant wife Ashley laugh at something Martin says. Ashley rests one manicured hand on her belly like it's a trophy. The hostess clears her throat. Would you like me to show you? I know where it is. My voice stays steady. Years of client meetings when emotions ran nuclear taught me that. Table 10 crouches near the bathrooms. 3 distant neighbors I haven't seen since last year's block party barely glance up from their phones as I sit. The table wobbles when I set down my drink. Karen rises to speak, commanding the room with the same presence that once carried her through 30 years of community service, while collecting 6-figure fines from the rest of us. I want to thank everyone who truly matters for being here tonight. Her gaze sweeps the room, sliding right past my corner like I'm a stain on the beige carpet. Someone taps a fork on crystal. Let's hear from the next generation. Karen's voice cuts through the murmur before I can even stand. Speaking of family moments, wouldn't it be perfect if Colleen donated her beautiful Lakeview home to Derek and Ashley for their 5th anniversary? That sunroom would make such a precious nursery for the next little Lakeside Estate citizen. The room goes dead silent. 70 pairs of eyes swivel toward my corner. Even the waiter freezes, escargot plates hovering midair like tiny judgment orbs. My hand trembles slightly as I lift my water glass. A memory flashes, working until midnight for 2 straight years, sleeping on a futon to save for the down payment. The lonely triumph of signing those papers alone. My presence tonight was supposed to be my gift. The words come out clear and cool as the lake behind my house. My home is the result of years of work and sacrifice. That should be respected. Derek suddenly finds his plate fascinating. A flush crawls up Ashley's neck like cheap wine. Karen's fingers whiten around her champagne stem. I rise slowly, leaving the ebony box centered on the wobbling table. The gift I spent months choosing will probably end up in the clubhouse lost and found, just like the rare botanical prints I donated last Christmas that mysteriously disappeared. As I cross the room, whispers ripple in my wake like wind through HOA-approved ornamental grass. The valet scrambles for my keys, but I'm already walking toward my car. Each click of my heels on pavement feels like a small act of defiance. Inside my car, I grip the steering wheel, draw one deep breath, then another. The clubhouse lights blur in my rear view as I pull away, leaving behind the warmth, the champagne, and the perfectly planned gala. But this isn't about walking away forever. No, this is about something they never saw coming. What would you have done in that moment? Walk away forever or plan something they'd never forget? For me, this wasn't just about a house. It was about something far more valuable. And Karen Thompson and her little HOA empire were about to learn exactly what that meant. I left the venue and went straight to the lake. 3 days later in my home, I watched the lake rippling black under moonlight, lapping against my dock in steady rhythms that should soothe. Instead, each wave mirrors the pounding in my chest. 6 voicemails blink on my phone, Karen's number. The first 5 I delete with quick swipes, but the last one catches my thumb. You live alone with 2 cats, Colleen. That house was meant for a family. You owe the community more than you think, after everything we've done for you. My hand trembles as I hit delete. Ledger, my silver Maine Coon, brushes against my ankle, his purr a quiet middle finger to the echo of Karen's voice through the bay windows. Minnesota, autumn, paints the maples fire red. My maples. My windows. My home. The doorbell chimes. A delivery man holds an arrangement of white lilies. No smile, just efficiency. As he thrusts the clipboard, the card nestles among petals. You embarrass the entire community, dear. Karen. Lilies. She remembers. I'm allergic. My nose starts running before I can even get them to the trash. The phone rings again. Not Karen this time, a local real estate agent I don't recognize. The voicemail pops up seconds later. Miss Whitaker, just confirming Tuesday's appraisal at your Lakeview home. Karen Thompson listed herself as co-owner on the intake form, so we'll need both signatures. Ice spreads through my chest. The spare key drawer slides open with a scrape. Empty spot where the bronze emergency key should be. Last month's board meeting flashes through my mind. Karen accidentally taking my purse to the car, returning it 10 minutes later with a grandmotherly pat on my cheek. My laptop wakes with a touch. County records database. 3 clicks to the deed search. Property ID memorized like my own heartbeat. Document after document scrolls until there. Altered HOA clubhouse deed paperwork dated 2 weeks ago. A familiar signature that isn't mine. They've been planning this for months. The words fall into empty air. Ledger jumps onto my desk, headbutting my chin as if confirming the betrayal. I call my lawyer and arrange a meeting the following day. The next day, Mr. Halverson's office smells of leather and lemon polish. Late afternoon sun catches his silver hair as he adjusts his reading glasses, spreading documents across the mahogany desk. His eyes narrow, then widen. Colleen, he sets down the last paper. Your name is still on the deed for the clubhouse. You never transferred it back after saving it from foreclosure in 2009. The memory slams back, liquidating my 401k, watching years of savings vanish into one cashier's check while the association begged. Karen's tears as the foreclosure notice disappeared. Martin's firm handshake, his promise to handle the paperwork. Do they ever thank you? Halverson's voice gentles. Tears spring hot. They never even acknowledged it happened. We arrange another meeting and further plans. So I head to my office. During the ride, my phone buzzes. Derek's text fills the screen. Mom's devastated. Dad's furious. Fix this or forget being part of this community. Before I can respond, Ashley's number flashes. Her voice drips honey and arsenic. We've already picked out the nursery colors for that sunroom. Perfect morning light for the baby. You wouldn't want your future community niece or nephew to miss out, would you? The warning comes from Susan at the community church potluck. They're telling everyone you promised the house years ago. Karen showed some old letters at the men's breakfast. People are talking. 20 minutes later, my office door closes with a soft click. Client files stack neat and accusing. Reputation built over 15 years of 60-hour weeks. One whisper of HOA scandal could shatter it all. Later that day, evening settles over the lake. Waves lap darker now. Stars prick through purple twilight. A loon calls somewhere in the distance, wild and lonely. My dock stretches into still water. Board solid under bare feet. I've been their safety net my entire adult life. The words dissolve into mist rising off the lake. Behind me, my home glows warm against gathering night. Through the bay windows, I glimpse Ledger and Equity curled on their favorite sill, twin guardians of everything I built. Have you ever discovered that the people who should protect you most have been plotting behind your back? The evidence would change everything, and the revelation had only begun. A week later, my knuckles whiten around the steering wheel as I turn on a Lakeview Drive. 3 cars block my driveway. Karen's Lincoln, Martin's Volvo, and Derek's Range Rover. The late afternoon sun glints off their windshields, momentarily blinding me. I park at the curb. My heart hammers. Through my rear view, I watch Mrs. Peterson's curtains twitch next door. Perfect. Nothing like an audience for the latest installment of Lakeside Estates Theater. The car doors open in sync. Karen storms across my lawn, silver bob catching sunlight. Martin follows, waving a manila envelope. Derek hangs back, arms crossed. You're tearing this community apart over a house. Karen's voice carries across the gardens I spent 3 years perfecting. Your own community needs a proper home for the next generation. A laugh bubbles up, bitter as black coffee. And my home is the solution to Derek's problems again. This isn't about Derek. Martin thrusts the envelope. This is about community obligation. You have 1 week to sign these transfer papers. The roses I planted last spring bend in the wind, petals scattering. Across the street, the Hendersons stop watering to watch. Mrs. Peterson's door creaks open. No, the word comes out soft but steady. What did you say? Karen's voice climbs an octave. I said no. I adjust my laptop bag, stepping around them toward my front door. And you're trespassing. Trespassing? Martin's face flushes crimson. We're the HOA board, who apparently think they can steal my property. The key slides into the lock with a satisfying click. Everything goes through my attorney now. Please leave. This isn't over, Derek calls from the driveway. Not by a long shot. I close the door on their protests, engaging all 3 locks. My hands shake as I drop my bag, but my mind stays clear. In my home office, I pull out the accordion file I've been building for weeks. The papers inside tell a story 20 years in the making. Bank statements, tax records, loan applications, each a thread in a tapestry of betrayal. The first loan application stops my breath. Derek's signature, my address listed as collateral. 3 more follow, each larger. An email chain between Karen and Martin discusses solving Derek's debt problem with Colleen's house. Old photos spill out. My high school graduation dwarfed by Derek's football games. My MBA ceremony tucked behind snapshots of his failed restaurant. A pattern written in Kodak moments. The tears come without warning, splashing onto my mahogany desk. I've spent decades building walls of spreadsheets and profit margins, telling myself I didn't need their approval. Now those walls crumble like wet paper. An hour later, my phone buzzes. A text from Rebecca. Lunch tomorrow. You shouldn't be alone with this. Before I can respond, Thomas from IT sends, heard about the situation. I install security systems on weekends. Let me help. A voicemail from Ashley's sister Jennifer, voice tight. They don't know I'm calling. But you need to know about Derek's gambling. The debts, they're worse than anyone realizes. I lean back, staring at the ceiling. All these years, I thought being alone meant being strong. But strength flows in from unexpected channels like sunshine through stained glass. The next morning, I stride into the Minneapolis law office, heels clicking against marble. 5 attorneys sit around the polished table. Miss Whitaker, Sandra Chun gestures to the chair. We've reviewed everything. There's something you need to see. She slides a document across. My eyes catch key phrases. Original deed, transfer, never recorded 2009 crisis. After you saved the clubhouse during the recession, Sandra says, Karen never filed the paperwork to transfer the deed back. Legally, you own the entire clubhouse outright. The weight settles. What are my options? Sandra's smile is pure chess master. How much justice would you like? That evening I sit on my dock watching the sun paint the lake orange and pink. A family of ducks cuts through the reflection. My phone fills with messages from friends offering support, spare rooms if needed. Each one reminds me family isn't always blood. The security company arrives at dawn. As they install cameras and change locks, I draft an email to my attorney. 3 words that will change everything. Proceed as discussed. Behind me, the lake sparkles like scattered diamonds. Ahead, storm clouds gather over the city. I've spent my life being the community lighthouse. But lighthouses don't move for ships that refuse to see their light. The security footage plays in grainy black and white on my laptop. Karen uses her spare key with practiced ease, pushing open my front door at 2:17 p.m. On a Tuesday. Martin follows, carrying a professional camera. They move through my home like buyers at an open house, photographing windows, measuring doorways, discussing something I can't hear. Ashley appears at 2:36, cradling her belly, running fingers along my custom kitchen cabinets. Her phone snaps pictures of the sunroom, my sunroom, where I drink coffee every morning watching Cardinals. I pause the footage, stomach clenching. They measured the nursery dimensions while I was at work. Thomas leans back. The system caught 4 separate visits last month. Want me to keep going? No. The word comes out sharp as breaking glass. I've seen enough. I call Mr. Halverson again, get instructions, and head to the estate attorney. 2 hours later, I sit across from Gloria Chun. Her silver hair catches light as she reviews footage, stills, logs, records. The evidence is unambiguous. We can file a restraining order today. They entered without permission for the explicit purpose of planning an unauthorized transfer. My hand trembles as I sign. Do it. The locksmith arrives at sunset, replacing every lock while Karen's latest voicemail plays on speaker. After all the community has done for you, Colleen. We gave you everything. And this is how you repay us. Delete. My phone buzzes with texts from unknown numbers. Church friends trying to mediate, each carrying subtle accusations wrapped in concern. I silence it and open the wall safe. 30 years of organized papers, deeds, statements, the truth in numbers that don't lie. The next morning, I send a single email to every resident. For my own well-being, I need to share some fact about our community's financial history. I've attached documentation. I pause over the keyboard. In my mind, I see years of Christmas parties, potlucks, keeping quiet, being the responsible one. The good neighbor, no more. First attachment, bank records showing my 401k liquidation to save the clubhouse in 2009. Second, 3 years of payments I covered while the board was between budgets. Third, receipts for Derek's gambling debts I quietly paid to keep the association clean. Final attachment, security footage, screenshots, time-stamped, showing the board planning to take my home while I paid their bills. Send. By afternoon, responses trickle in. Aunt Margaret actually misses. Hargrove, I had no idea about 2009. Cousin Peter, this changes things. Uncle James, who always sided with Derek. Why didn't you tell us sooner? Ashley appears in my office doorway at 3 p.m., tears streaming. You're destroying our community. I don't look up. The security desk shouldn't have let you up. Derek told me everything about the gambling, the debts. I'm so sorry, Colleen. I didn't know. Now I meet her eyes. But you knew about measuring my nursery without asking. She leaves without answering. My office phone blinks with 17 messages. The pastor wants to discuss honoring thy neighbors. Karen tried calling my managing partner. Martin showed up at my coffee shop. I drive home as sunset paints the lake gold. A real estate agent's car idles in the clubhouse driveway, the property I saved. Caroline steps out, portfolio in hand. Perfect timing. I've completed the market analysis. Unless you have questions, we can list by end of week. I think of Karen's voicemail. List it. And Caroline. Make sure the listing mentions the property's unique ownership situation. Full disclosure. That night on my dock, stars emerge. Security lights cast protective circles. New locks gleam. The alarm hums. My phone lights with Derek's name, straight to voicemail. The lake breeze carries autumn. Soon maples will turn crimson. The clubhouse Karen tried to use as leverage will be gone. I pull my sweater closer. This ends now, I whisper to the dark, and it ends my way. Somewhere a loon calls across black water. Its cry sounds like laughter. 4 days later, the crisp, white envelope from Anderson and Mitchell Law arrives at precisely 9 o'clock. Karen's attorney presents their final offer with the confidence of someone who's never lost a negotiation. I scan the terms, structured to sound generous. Retain full ownership of your Lakeview property in exchange for releasing all claims to community assets. My phone buzzes, Derek's 5th call today. The staccato knock on my office door makes me jump. Derek stands there flanked by a young couple straight from a real estate brochure. The woman clutches a designer handbag. 10 minutes. Meet the Petersons. Derek announces. They're buying your house next month. Already picked out nursery colors. I lift my eyes from the settlement offer, taking in his swagger, the same look he wore when he borrowed my emergency fund for his failed business. Security will escort you out in 60 seconds. Mom's blood pressure, 50 seconds. The Petersons shuffle backward, smiles cracking. Derek's face flushes that particular red before he loses control. You selfish. I speak into my phone. Unauthorized visitors at office 412. They vanish before the elevator chimes. I settle back, reviewing morning emails. 3 church members wanting reconciliation. Martin's golf buddy suggesting the bigger picture. Karen's doctor detailing her concerning symptoms from community stress. Same pressure points they've used my whole life. But this time something's different. I open my laptop, pull up final documentation. New owners, complete paperwork, 30-day notice, everything in perfect order. My cursor hovers over send as years of memories flash. Signing away savings to save their clubhouse in 2009, sleeping on a futon while Derek borrowed rent money, watching them plan my future without asking what I wanted. Click. The next day, security footage streams to my monitor. The courier arrives at the clubhouse precisely at noon. Karen's hand trembles as she signs for the certified letter. Martin's face transforms. Confusion, shock, rage. Their Mercedes screeches into my driveway at 12:47. Karen stumbles out first, silver bob disheveled. Martin pounds the front door, each blow echoing through my doorbell camera. Colleen Marie Whitaker, open this door immediately. I press the intercom. My voice emerges steady, practice from 1,000 client meetings. The clubhouse has been sold. Your belongings will be placed in storage. The new owners take possession in 30 days. You can't. Karen's voice breaks. That's our community home. Was your home? Just like my 401k was my money, my retirement savings were my security, my house was my achievement. Each word falls like a gavel strike. You taught me well. Community takes care of community, right? Martin's fist connects again. I'll destroy you for this. Your career, your reputation, Mrs. Henderson calls from next door. Step away or I'm calling the police. Mind your own business, Susan. 10 minutes later, red and blue lights flash. Officer Rivera, neighborhood watch acquaintance, steps out. Everything all right here, folks? Karen crumples onto my steps, sobs racking her shoulders. Martin spins toward the officer, jabbing a finger. My daughter, she's stolen, has legally sold her own property. I correct through the speaker. Officer Rivera, I have documentation ready if needed. The whispers start that evening. Calls and texts trickle from extended neighbors, church members, country club acquaintances. Derek makes 17 attempts to access the Community Education Trust before his lawyer explains it's ironclad. Karen and Martin tour 3 apartment complexes. Their realtor drops hints about downsizing with dignity. The next week at court, the final hearing takes 15 minutes. Judge Marshall peers over her glasses. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, your daughter's ownership of the clubhouse is clearly established. Her sale falls well within her legal rights. She pauses, tapping her pen. Given the evidence of attempted property theft and ongoing harassment, I'm granting the no-contact order. Martin slumps. For the first time, I notice how the skin sags beneath his chin. Karen stares straight ahead, fingers working her purse strap like rosary beads. 10 minutes later, my heels click against marble as I exit the courthouse alone. October's sun warms my face, a weight I've carried since childhood lifts. Not even the sight of Ashley sobbing into Derek's shoulder dims the sensation. Peace, I realize, watching a maple leaf spiral down to the courthouse steps. All these years I thought I was fighting for property, for recognition, for justice. But I was fighting for something far more valuable. I was fighting for my freedom. The leaf touches down brilliant red against white marble. Somewhere in the city, Karen and Martin face their first night, knowing they have 30 days to leave the clubhouse they ruled for 40 years. Derek is probably planning his next manipulation. The whispers will continue. The judgment, the small-town speculation. But for the first time in my life, none of it touches me. I unlock my car, adjust my rear view, and drive toward the lake, toward my home, toward the life I choose, not the one chosen for me. What price would you put on your peace of mind? For me, it wasn't about revenge. It was about finally being free. I got my freedom and peace completely after a year. At present, the morning sun glints off Lake Harriet as I settle into my reading chair, a worn leather piece rescued from an antique store in Stillwater. Through the bay windows, autumn paints the shoreline in crisp oranges and deep reds. My coffee steams in its economics mug, a gift from my newest mentee, Sarah. The phone buzzes. Sarah's name lights up right on schedule for our weekly check-in. Miss Whitaker, Colleen, I got the promotion. I used that negotiation strategy you taught me. When my boss tried the guilt trip about the team being a family, I remembered what you said about professional boundaries. Call me Colleen. I remind her, smiling as ledger stretches across my feet. And congratulations. You earned this through your own merit, like you did with your house. She pauses. Thank you for sharing your story. It helped me understand I wasn't alone. After we hang up, I walk through rooms that finally feel completely mine. The formal dining room now holds my hydroponic herb garden. The sunroom where Ashley once planned a nursery has transformed into my home office, walls lined with financial textbooks and framed investment certificates. In the backyard, my vegetable garden thrives, where Derek once marked spots for a playground. I kneel in the soil, tucking mulch around late-season tomatoes. The lake breeze carries distant laughter from passing boats. No longer setting my teeth on edge with guilt about living here alone. My therapist, Dr. Chun, calls this reclaiming space. Last session, she noted how I've stopped apologizing for my choices. You've built more than a home. You've built peace. She's right. Peace blooms in small moments. Cooking elaborate meals just for myself, leaving projects spread across the kitchen table overnight, playing classical piano at midnight without worrying about disturbing anyone. The house echoes with possibility instead of obligation. My phone chimes with updates from the foundation. I started the Fresh Start Fund. We're reviewing applications for next semester scholarships. Each candidate reminds me of myself at 22. Ambitious, hardworking, tangled in community expectations that threaten to strangle their dreams. Walking back inside, I noticed the small brass plaque beside my front door catching sunlight. The Whitaker Haven, 2021. Not a legacy of martyrdom, but of metamorphosis. The afternoon brings Jennifer and Mark from my weekly dinner group. We prep vegetables for stir-fry, trading stories about our latest adventures. Jennifer just returned from hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. something she'd postponed for decades while caring for aging parents. Speaking of adventures, Mark says, sliding chopped carrots into a bowl. Have you booked that Mediterranean cruise yet? I nod, warm spreading. 2 weeks in June, my first real vacation in 15 years. Look who's finally spending some of that hard-earned money on herself. Jennifer teases, bumping my shoulder. The kitchen fills with cooking aromas and easy conversation. No one here expects me to shrink myself or sacrifice my joy for their comfort. My chosen family celebrates each step toward wholeness. Later, we carry plates to the deck overlooking the lake. The setting sun paints the water amber and rose. Talk flows naturally between work stories and future plans, punctuated by genuine laughter. To building the life we choose, Mark raises his wine glass, not the one chosen for us. The words resonate like a bell, struck clear and true. 1 year ago, I sat alone in this house, surrounded by guilt and others' expectations. Now friendship and purpose fill these rooms. After my guests leave, I walk down to my private dock. Stars emerge above the lake's darkening surface. Last week's mail included a Christmas card from Ashley's sister, photos of the children building a snowman. I've arranged for their college funds through a trust structured so Derek can't access the money. Some bonds survive transformation. Karen and Martin live across town now in a modest apartment complex. Martin's health struggles with the adjustment, but they're learning to stand on their own feet. Monthly updates from extended neighbors grow less frequent, more respectful of new boundaries. A young woman I mentored through the foundation sent a letter yesterday. You showed me it's okay to choose myself. Your story gave me permission to want more. The next day, standing on the dock, I watched my reflection in the gentle waves. The woman gazing back no longer flinches at choosing her own happiness. She's learned that true strength often looks like saying no to others and yes to herself. Inside, ledger and equity curl on the window seat silhouetted against the last purple light of dusk. Their peaceful presence reminds me that family can be as simple as sharing space with souls who accept you exactly as you are. I settle back into my reading chair, opening the course materials for the financial literacy program I'm teaching this weekend. The lake whispers outside, constant as a heartbeat. This is what victory feels like. Not a triumphant march, but a quiet certainty that fills your lungs with every breath. One choice at a time, I've built something precious, a life that belongs entirely to me. The peace I found here outweighs any fortune they try to claim. Some might call it selfish, choosing your own path over community obligation. I call it survival, growth, truth. In the end, it wasn't about the house at all. It was about honoring the voice inside that had whispered enough for so many years. About learning that boundaries aren't walls. They're foundations upon which we build our truest lives. The stars brighten over Lake Harriet as night deepens. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities to stand firm in my choices. But tonight, in this moment, I am exactly where I belong. At peace at home, finally gloriously free.